Welcome back to our next episode of Uncivil Discourse, hosted by Lee,
Hey, everybody.
myself, and our guest commentator this year, Jeff.
How's it going?
The season is going so well. It's just been so good. People are showing up. They're playing. We still have a bit of a problem with rescheduled games, but you know what? Everybody's getting their games in that can, so we don't have a lot of bye wins/losses other than people who had legitimate reasons to not be able to make it. So it's been really good.
We have such a good turnout on those rescheduled games. We usually have 2 or 3 going at the same time. It's almost like having a second league day sometimes.
That is nice when we can get okay, everybody's rescheduling for the following Sunday. Perfect. As opposed to, well, I want to do Tuesday night, and I want to do Thursday night, and I want to do Saturday.
Well, the only special announcement I can actually think of this week is I won! I had such an awesome game against Phil's Hogan's Heroes. A game I was actually really nervous to play because I'm 3 games lost in a row, and I really needed to win. But Phil won the grinder, so his skill level was not really questioned, and then he ended up with a couple of bye wins. Like, he didn't really get a chance to test himself, and he has a really good lance. I'm really impressed with it. But I'll go into detail when we get to the breakdown of Week 4 games. But yeah, I am elated. This has been such a good week.
Little late, but spoiler alert. Okay, so let's get rolling. Let's get into the skill spins for this week. Kondo's Janissaries, the Hunchback, picks up Target Lock.
Gels Kashik, the T-Sang, picks up Courage.
Our new team, the Ghosts of Gunsbergs, they're Wolverine. Clan salvaged up the Clan Large Pulse Laser, one of the best clan salvage possible.
The Remnants, Thunderhawk, picks up Favorite Weapon.
Which weapon? Maybe it was the medium lasers.
The Gauze Rifles.
Yeah, you gotta tell people this stuff. The fans want to know.
Riston's Rogues, Banks.
Fox Knights, their Exterminator, takes Mountaineer.
Neon Betons, the Thunderbolt C, starting BV of 1671, uses engineering to swap out the ER large for a second large pulse laser, changes the heat sinks to doubles, they drop down to 17 in total, it adds jump jets, and it moves the weapons out of the arms into the torsos, so it can be a pugilist. Max heat is 33, dissipates 34, new BV is 1898 for an increase of 227.
Half-Cut Shadowcat picks up Zelbriggan.
The Vengeful Ones, the Lancelot, takes Favorite Weapon, Large Pulse Laser.
Kinkazi's Wraith picks up Bribery.
Alshane's Regulars, Blackhawk Coup, grabs Target Lock.
The Tin Man's Tin Cans Battlemaster takes Gunnery.
Nace CIT banks their points for this week.
The Triple R Radiant Raven Raiders also banks.
First Merrick's Militia, the Orion, grabs Gunnery.
The first Dracons, Black Knight, picks up Hyperactive.
Fenris Frostfangs, their Banshee, picks up Target Lock. And the Archer uses Veteran to grab Missile Grouping.
The Blitzkrieg Jezebels, Blitzkrieg grabs Mountaineer.
Devil's Brigade Caesar picks up Lethargic, and the Hopman grabs Stand and Deliver.
Pit Vipers, the Assassin picks up Courage, and the Fafnir uses Veteran to grab Underworld Contacts for Case 2, which drops 1 ton of armor to upgrade both Case to Case 2. Goes from having some wasted coverage on armor to 96% coverage, or 296 of 307, and the new battle value jumps up to 2,577. Pit Viper's Marauder 5S does a Technician to swap the Gauze Rifle for an LB-10X, 1 ton each of each ammo type, upgrades Case to Case 2, adds 1 double heatsink to dissipate 34 of 34, and boosts the armor from 80% all the way up to 90% coverage, or 208 of 231. The new battle value is 1,684, for a total loss of 115 battle value.
Not often do we see a loss.
Yeah, and Jeff, we're really abusing you. Last week we had you reading for like 20 minutes.
I'm okay with it.
The Wolf Pack, their Marauder 2 5A started off at a BV of 2058. It uses underworld contacts to grab double heat sinks, which drops them down to 18 but dissipates a total of 36. Adds a medium laser to the grouping. Changes the XL engine down to a standard engine, making it way more survivable. Gets the case 2 for any ammo. Generates 35 heat at range, dissipates 36. New BV is 2363 for an increase of 305.
Thumper's Revenge, the Grasshopper picks up mobile fire.
Cat's Nightingale Cavalry's Guillotine grabs target lock.
Ansgar's Outlaws, the Marauder 2 also grabs target lock.
Hogan's Heroes, Banked.
Wendigo's Night Stalkers, Wolverine grabs Anticipation.
Abishai's Avengers, the Atlas, reassigns himself up to the King Crab 0005R. And ends up taking Technician as well to swap the LB-20X for a Gauss rifle. The LBX and 3 tons of ammo is 17 tons, and a Gauss rifle and 2 tons of ammo is 17 tons. So it's just a straight swap. There's no leftover tonnage, so the new BV is 2408 for an increase of 73 points.
Paxton's Pathfinders, Marauder 2 picks up gunnery.
Dead Man's Hand reassigns and drops the Caesar to pick up a Blackhawk Coup. Also adds forest fire on the Egermech.
The Red Sun's Irregulars Widowmaker takes Anticipation.
League of Robots, Direwolf picks up Camouflage.
And Teddy Bear Parade's Grumpy Bear, the Kodiak that everybody loves so much, picks up gunnery.
So this is where we're going to start seeing people picking up actual skills. Not so much mech swapping or engineering anymore, well, except for me. I still did that because that Caesar was just seriously underperforming.
Man, there's some interesting skills. The Abishai's Atlas swapping over to the King Crab, that's something. I didn't see that one coming at all. And how many target locks did we get this time around? Are we at like 5 or 6 people that grab target lock?
I think 4 people grabbed it this week, and I grabbed it last week, taking us up to 5.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's I think the most we've ever seen in League for that skill.
There's 5 this week plus you, Brett, for 6.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice to see some of those other skills that you don't normally see coming out to play this year.
And I think nobody's got Personal Vendetta this year, which is pretty awesome.
For now.
No, I think one person does. I just can't remember who.
For now, it's coming.
Yeah, it'll be the next one. It's another big skill spin. All right, let's take a look and see how the week 4 games played out this week, other than the one that we already have spoilers for. Game number 1, the Remnants will face off against Kells Keshik. They played out the match in the forward base comm center arena, where we see a 2-1 Keshik victory.
The Fafnir ends up taking out the Avatar relatively early, and the T-Zang ends up taking out the Thunderhawk. But the Remnant's Wraith does get some revenge and drops the Fafnir.
I'll tell you, that's probably one of the toughest matches I've had yet with League. The C3 is something to have to overcome. I was lucky enough with that the forward base map set. There's a lot of level 3 walls that I was able to use to my advantage, but I still ended up having to get out in the open a few times to get there, and every time I did, he hammered me. Every time. I got really lucky with my Fafnir. He got me down to 1 pip left internal in the center, 1 pip left internal in the right torso, and then just could never hit it till I finally fell over, and he had the Wraith standing at my feet, and he finally got it. It was a hell of a match, and if it wasn't till the last turn that T-Sang took out the Thunderhawk, that was a tie game going up right to the last minute. So, hell of a game played with Chris, and you should watch out for that C3 and his combination. It's pretty damn good. I guess that'll bring us to game number 2, Radiant Raven Raiders versus Abishai's Avengers. They played Rock'em Sock'em Robots. The Raiders and the Avengers threw down on the Deathly Desert to a 4-0 Avengers victory.
The Atlas claims 2 kills today in the Battlemaster and the Archer, and the Flashman picks up the Avatar and the Night Sky. And he no longer has that Atlas, so hey, it gets to drop off the kill count for Killer's Corner.
I think it has a decent number of kills to begin with, so it might be up in that top 20 for a little while yet.
Would have been. Too bad it's gone now.
Yeah, it's
Bye.
still there. Its record still counts. It doesn't disappear until it gets knocked out of the top 20. Moving on to game number 3, we have the Wendigos Night Stalkers up against the Blitzkrieg Jezebels. Well, they played their match on the Wooded Hills, which ended up being a 2-0 Wendigos victory. I got to witness the game, and it was great. Well, a great deal of missing. The first 5 rounds, not a single shot hit. They were missing by 1s, 2s, their numbers weren't great. They couldn't hit. It was just brutal. Then the Blitzkrieg Jezebel's heavy gauze rifles started making contact and punched a lot of big holes. The Awesome ended up with all 3 torsos wide open. He lost, I think, 10 double heat sinks, as well as the Guillotine's center torso was wide open, and the Wolverine's right arm of the Wendigos Night Stalkers was blown clean off. The Wendigos Night Stalkers were able to take out the Barghest because it simply stood its ground. It refused to allow them to take the heavy set of trees it was standing in. It would rather have died than allow them to take that point. Well, it did after about 4 rounds of concentrated fire onto it. The Avatar, also standing in a heavy set of trees, using its forest fire to be able to shoot through the trees in front of it without having to worry about those numbers, ended up eating 3 mechs worth of fire for about 2-3 rounds before it finally went down as well. And unfortunately, the Blitzkrieg Jezebels weren't able to take advantage of those open torsos to the point of actually killing anything. So, 2-0 Wendigos.
Game 4, the League of Robots threw down against Cat's Nightingale Cavalry. The Mountain Lakes seen battle this time and led to a tie game between these two lances.
For the Cavalry, the Daishi takes out the Lynx and the Guillotine, while the Glass Spider drops the Sad Cat Raksasha. The Robots lose the Elementals and the Ice Ferret to the Guillotine, and the Glass Spider to the Longbows Missiles.
Later on in this fight, when the Longbow absolutely hammered the Glass Spider with tandem charge SRMs, hit him with 32 missiles.
Damn.
Oh, it was the end of the mech, but almost didn't kill it. The critical rolls were terrible. Just couldn't get criticals, but ended up dropping it. But it was right down to the last couple of missiles before it finally went down. Game number 5, we have the 1st Merrick Militia. They're up against those clanners, the Teddy Bear Parade. House Merrick fares less than ideally when the invading clan Ghost Bears come a-calling. The River Valley Arena was a 4-0 Teddy Bear win.
Grumpy Bear gets no credit today. The Warhammer claims the Trebuchet, the Orion, and the Marauder, while the Stormcrow picks off the Awesome. The Sons of Merrick come close to taking out the Kodiak, but just can't quite finish it off at the end.
Game number 6 is Hogan's Heroes versus Dead Man's Hands. They met in the Kozai's Valley, and they'll need to clean up the magnets because so many gauze rifles going pew-pew. The Heroes just don't have a winning hand, though. 4-2 for Dead Man's victory.
As I promised, a few more details. My Caesar was killed off by the Cerebus. The Templar was slayed by the Sad Cat. It was like 4 head hits in 2 turns. While the Templar did get some damage out, it died quickly. The Jagermech claimed both the Rakshasa and the Cerebus, and the Huron Warrior took out the Bandersnatch, with the Caesar taking out the Uziel. Round 3 was really the start of the way the battle was going to go. The Jagermech caught the Uziel with a gauze rifle into the left torso, cleaving off 90% of the armor. In the same round, the Caesar hit the Uziel again with a gauze rifle, hitting it in the left torso and shearing it off, giving it a 3XL kill before it even got to shoot. Like, it wasn't good. After that, the fight got ugly. The Rakshasa was just every turn hammering into my mechs. The Bandersnatch did a good job, did quite a bit of damage. The 2 LB-10Xs were really good at causing criticals, even with my armor. But in the end, he just couldn't weather the damage being thrown out by my Jaeger mech and by my Huron warrior. I ended up winning it. But yeah, Phil played a great game.
I still can't believe your Jaeger mech did something. It's a Jaeger mech. Should be put in the pile with the urban mechs and just used for slag.
The Jaeger mech actually executed both of the Raksha and the Cerebus with headshots with Gauss rifles after they were on the ground missing limbs.
Oh, so it was only good because it was kicking somebody when they were down.
Oh, from 7 or 8 hexes away. It wasn't a point blank shot. It just happened to clip them in the head on those rounds of fire.
Match number 7, the Nace CIT versus the Pit Vipers this week. As one stable manager was overheard saying, the arena, lunar bullshit, was where they housed this matchup. The Vipers slither away after biting all 4 Nace CIT mechs fatally for a 4-0 victory.
For $15, we will rename that map Lunar Bullshit. So anybody wants to throw $15 at us, we will do that. So the Fafnir takes out the Marauder. The T-Bolt claims both the Rifleman and the Night Star, while the Marauder 5S clips the Blackjack. The NAIS CIT Lance has got some good firepower, but not against a Fafnir. That Fafnir is so ugly and so mean. The only one that comes even close to it, I think, is yours, Jeff, just because of the plasma rifles. But yeah, I'm not going to stop laughing about that arena name for the rest of the show.
Oh my. Game number 8, Tin Man's Tin Cans versus the Wolfpack. They met on the Savannah Arena to have a little bit of fun with a 2-1 Tin Man victory over the Wolfpack. Way to go, Justin.
Tin Man's guillotine drops when the Marauder takes it out. And on the flip side, the Wolfpack loses both the Marauder and the Marauder 2. The Marauder being taken out by the Battlemaster, and the Marauder 2 going out of action after falling from the guillotine shooting. I got to see Justin's Lance up close and personal today, because we had to play our game early. No spoilers for that one. But that Lance is tough. That Battlemaster has got some amazing firepower with that Rack 5. And it's just a really good Lance. Alex, his Lance is brutally tough. Like, there isn't a bad Lance in League this year. I have to say, Alex is slipping a little bit, but you know what? He's just going to pop right back. He does it every season. And Justin, way to go. Look forward to seeing how you do with the rest of the season.
Game number 9 had the first Dracons versus Thumper's Revenge. Oops, the Mountain Lakes ended up having a repeat visit for a second match this week. I think that's 3 weeks out of 4 that we've had something played on double. But you know, out of 32 teams, that's not the end of the world. The Dracons unseat the 3-0 Bunnies, though, pulling home a 4-0 win today.
So the Shadowhawk picks up another kill on the Longbow, while the Axeman sneaks in the kill for the Stealth, the Raksha, and the Grasshopper. So the Axeman's going to move up a little bit in those Killer's Corner rankings. But in the end, it just doesn't sound like the match went the Thumper's Revenge way. A lot of it had to do with those lakes that if you don't jump, you're not getting across it without taking a beating.
This is another one that's blowing my mind. Once again, one of you two is showing me that a mech that I think is relatively useless isn't. The Shadowhawk picks up another kill. Way to go, Brett. Every time I see a Shadowhawk, I just think it's there to die. So I'm shocked by the fact that thing is just doing so well this season.
Yeah, it really has been my MVP for the Lance.
That'll bring us to game number 10. The Alshane regulars throw down with the Devil's Brigade. They meet on the Grasslands Arena. The regulars take down the Brigade in a 3-2 victory.
The Thunderhawk does work today, as they should. It claiming both the Hotman and the Penetrator. The Black Hawk gets the Caesar and the Night Sky. So in return, the Hotman takes the Crab off the board, and the Caesar claims the Grand Dragon. Sounds like it was a real back and forth game. But if the Thunderhawk's doing its job, mechs die, and they just get reamed early. Great fight, and way to go with getting some of those wins.
Game number 11, Ansgar's Outlaws versus the Ghosts of Gunsburg. Ansgar's welcomes our newest member on the Unending Hills. These two newcomers to League face off, and Outlaws come out of it with a 3-1 victory. I will say that I got to witness this game. I come back to last week when I said Rabbit's feet firmly planted in asses. Ansgar's on turn 4 pops the Grasshopper in the head with a snub-nosed PPC, getting 1 critical hit, and proceeds to roll another 12 and blow the head clean off the mech. That was not the only head hit Ansgar's put out this in this match. There was multiple head hits, and just there was a turn where he shot at the Ghost of Gunsberg Wolverine and took out 3 gyros in 1 turn. It was just Rabbit's feet, man. I'm telling you, firmly lodged in pilots' asses. That's Ansgar's secret weapon.
Game number 12, Riston's Rogues take aim at Fenrir's Frostfangs. Lake Lawsy has the Frostfangs coming out for a game swinging hard against the Rogues, but perhaps they swing a little too hard as they miss, with Riston's bringing home a 3-0 victory.
The Perseus, with its first Gauss rifle hit, takes the head of the Nodachi on the second turn, then takes out the Banshee, while the Battlemaster takes out the Archer.
I have to comment on this because this is 2 things. One, our unbeaten player versus our guy's first game back after not being able to make it for the first 3 games. And he just crunches him. That's one thing about League. It never takes it easy on you.
Game number 13, Condo's Janissaries versus the Neon Beatons. 2 titans of the CBL find each other in the Foothills Arena. So much destruction today. It has the Helios as the only survivor in a 4-3 Condo's victory.
For the Janissary side of things, the Hunchback is taken out by the Warhawk. The Penetrator as well. And then the U-Hang falls to the might of the Thunderbolt. For the Clanners, the Penetrator takes out the Elementals. Its second set of infantry this season, I think. And the Hunchback gets the Thunderbolt, and the Helios takes out the Nova and the Warhawk for the win. This was a game that Aaron needed to win to get himself back up into the top 8, top 6 in that range. He's still way up there, but this does solidify JP's Condo's Janissaries as one of the only teams with a 4-0 record.
Game number 14, Paxton's Pathfinders versus the Red Sun Irregulars. They meet on the Prairie Lakes and have a great day, where they have to clean up 5 mechs off the field. Clans bring home the victory with another 4-1 win for the Red Suns.
Clanner Archer falls to the Marauder 2, while the Widowmaker unloads all of its ammo on double shots and hits with every round today, doubling up everything. It gets a kill on the Marauder 2, and the Elementers cap the Wraith, while the Dragonfly brings home the kill count on the Orion and the Black Knight.
Game number 15, we have the Vengeful Ones facing off against the Kenkazi. Our other Grasslands map has shots fired, and this scrap ends up in a 2-1 Kenkazi win.
The Direwolf pinpoints into the right torso of the Atlas with all shots, hitting a single location and taking it out. On the other side of the game, the Wraith manages to take out both the Battle Cobra and the Lancelot.
Game number 16, the Half Cut versus Foch Knights. Hit 'em high, hit 'em low in the hills, half cut. They take the road in the hills to a 2-1 victory today.
Yeah, way to go, Paul. That is awesome, man. The Clanners lose the Warhammer to the King Crab's Gauze Rifles, as you would expect. However, the Warhammer takes out the Phoenix Hawk at the same time, and then the Warhawk clipped the Exterminator. So glad to see Paul get on to the winning side of the battle. And Fox Knights, don't worry, you lost to a great player who's just having some bad luck, so don't feel like you got taken out by a rookie.
One of the notes for this game, though, said that the King Crab, firing 2 Gauze Rifles for 11 turns, only hit 8 times in total.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that's rough. This is also what Paul did last year, right? Lose the first 3 games and then start winning. Seems to be Paul's tactic.
Just has to warm up.
Yeah.
But he does have a couple of really fast mechs with high defensive mods, too.
That's going to lead us into week 3 matches. 4 teams are 4-0, and 6 teams have 3 wins. Means we still have a really tight race at the top still. And we're starting to see the separation between the top 16 and the bottom 16. Game number 1, we have the Kenkazi. 1 win, 2 losses, 1 tie. They're up against the Remnants, which have a single win and 3 losses, no ties. You know what? These are 2 C3 or C3I lances who have their lance pretty much tuned the way they want them. No major changes. Sorry, Chris, I can't vote for you. I made the promise. I'm gonna say it's gonna be the Kenkazi, and I think it's gonna be 3-1. That just popped into my head. I'm gonna go 3-1. Their lances are so similar. I really don't know where that's gonna go.
I think Galen has had a beginning little bit of struggle, but he's got his lance finally underneath him. So I got to agree with you, Lee, that I think it's going to be a Kinkazi win, but I think it's going to be a 2-0.
The Remnants outgun, in my opinion, but Kenkazi have the mobility. And I think mobility will take a very large effect in this game, especially considering neither of them are going to be rocking ECM to counter out their C3, right? So I think he who can get the best numbers quickest will come out on top on this. And as much as I love calling for Chris, I'm also going to agree with you guys and call Kinkazi on this one. 3-1.
Game number 2, Fox Knights. 2 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. They're up against our Triple R with a record of 2 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. It seems like the Radiant Raiders are struggling a bit. They're kind of tripping over their own feet after a couple of good matches early on. And Fox Knights had a disappointing loss last game. I think they're going to be coming back for revenge. I'm going to say Fox Knights are going to take it, and they're going to take it. I'm going to say 3-2. I think the Raven Raiders are still struggling. I think they're just not focused on what's going on in front of them.
I think the C3 of the Foch Knights is going to be a victory here. I think it's going to end up being a 3-2 as well. It's probably going to end up being the Battlemaster standing on the field for the Raiders, just being left kind of waiting and being like, guys, where are you guys?
I'm going to argue with both of you and say this match isn't going to happen. Because Radiant Ravens Raiders stable manager is flying out of country and will not be able to make the game. So I'm going to say this is a bye win for Fox Knights.
Hey, that's not fair.
Cheating.
We still get the victory, though. We still get the we voted that he was going to win. He gets the victory. You're just spot on with the bye win.
Yeah, unfortunately, this one will end up as a bye win, and it will be because it was too late, and we there was no way to get this game in a timely fashion. So that will end up as a bye win for Fox.
Yeah. Damn it. See, I told you this thing.
Jeff's the only one that's going to score well on that call because he's the one that called the bye.
We get points for the win. We did call the right team to win. You know how stupid we would have sounded if we had said that Radiant Raiders were going to win?
I figured you guys would have remembered that. So.
For whatever reason, I thought that it was the next game that he was missing. Well, he's missing that one too.
He's probably missing that one too. But yeah,
well, he has to.
I called it as if they were going to play.
Game number 3, Abishai's Avengers. 3 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. They're up against the Blitzkrieg Jezebels. 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties. Oh, the exact polar opposite record right now. Think Heather's heavy gauze rifles will match Abishai Avengers' heavy PPCs shot for shot. Heather's facing twice now, back-to-back games with the heavy PPCs. I think she's kind of got an idea on how they work. I think it's going to be a really close game. I do think Abishai's Avengers are going to pull it out, though, because he just played so well last year. He plays well. He knows what he's doing. The Blitzkrieg Jezebels can fall prey to a little bit of analysis paralysis. If there's just too much going on at once, she kind of freezes. Not always. Against good players, she quite often steps it up. So I'm going to say the Abishai's Avengers are going to win 4-2. But I think it is actually going to be a close game as his remaining 2 mechs are going to be badly damaged.
I think this is probably going to be an Avengers 4-1 victory. The Jezebels have some big guns, but the Abishai also knows how to leave stuff at just the right range that it's, oops, you slipped into long instead of medium.
Yeah, but the only thing I can argue on that is the fact that her heavy gauze rifles outrange his heavy PPCs.
They're also the improved variant, are they not?
Well, there's one is the improved, one isn't. But really, Heather has the range game. Her heavy gauze rifle is at 20 points of damage at 13 hexes, which means the Abishai's heavy PPCs don't get a medium range benefit. And the improved heavy gauze rifle actually, I think, is out to 13 as well at 22 points of damage. Other than possibly just better gunnery, the Blitzkrieg Jezebels outrange and outgun the Abishai's Avengers weapons. I think that's what's going to be Max's biggest thing is experience and decisiveness.
I also got to look like that flashman of the Abishai's is on a tear this season, right? He just picked up that king crab with a gauze rifle.
Gauze rifle, heavy PPC, and LB20 on that king crab still.
Yeah, and I think that is going to make a big difference in this game. Personally, I believe I want to say Heather's gonna be able to give him a whole lot of problem with the range game on this, but he's still got some good range and
5 head capping weapons on those 2 mechs.
5 head capping weapons, yeah. So I think this will be an Abishai's win. I'm gonna go with Brett on this, a 4-1.
And dice mean everything, right? If Heather's dice are hot or Max is hot, it could be a 4-0 easily.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're missing on 5s, right?
And let's be honest, if Heather gets lucky and a heavy gauze rifle hits a head, well, that's a game changer as well.
Or if they just double up on center torso.
Yeah, like really when it comes right down to it, that's one of the things that Heather had really good luck with against Jay was she was hitting the same location twice with heavy gauze rifles. Right? And same thing, she hit the Wolverine's right arm for the heavy PPC twice with a 20-point shot and a 22-point shot.
And she's also got a little bit of the same thing going on that Abishai's does now with that LB20X that he still has remaining. Because she's got swapped out that Blitzkrieg's Ultra to an LB20X. So if she remembers to, switch over to cluster, all of a sudden those big holes she's punching become a whole lot of little crits. Or little crit chances, right? So it's it very well could be we're all wrong and she pulls this off, but I'm going to say probably just due to experience 4-1 like Brett.
Yeah, 7-11 moving Blitzkrieg with Mountaineer, so -1 movement off of any elevation changes is going to be a threat with a clan LB20, regardless of what it does.
Yep, you can't ignore it. Now that was a big, long rant about that match. Moving on to game number 4. We have Cat's Nightingale Cavalry. 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie. Up against the 1st Merrick Militia. 0 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie. Well, I have seen both these teams play, and I've seen Cat's Cavalry whoop my butt. I'm going to say Cat's Cavalry are still going to keep it going. Merrick Militia is just not gelling so far this season. I could be wrong. I could see it turn around in the second half. But in the first half, I think he's going to end up losing out to the Cavalry for a 2-1.
Merrick Militia has had a little bit of a rough time. I mean, they just ran into 3-0 Kodiak, right? So their strength of schedule has been strong. Cat's Cavalry is nothing to sneeze at. It's another experienced player. And Merrick's Militia is new to the league this season, so just trying to get their feet underneath them. I got to agree with Lee on this one. I think it's probably going to be a 2-1 Cavalry victory.
I really want to see Merrick's Militia pull it out. They've got a good Marauder. They've got an Awesome. They've got an Orion. They have the tools to do the job. Ats now has that longbow with, unfortunately, pounding out tandem SRM ammo if it gets in close. If it comes to range, Merrick Militia is going to take it, but it's going to ultimately come to closing because Cats is going to close with it. I think we're looking at a 3-1 victory for Cats.
Game number 5, League of Robots. 3 wins, 0 losses, 1 tie. They're up against Hogan's Heroes. 2 bye wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. League of Robots is another team that whooped me, and whooped me well. And Hogan's Heroes, it really hasn't had his mettle tested other than the 2 games where he lost, right? We really don't know where he should be. I'm going to say League of Robots are going to continue their process, though, of winning. They're going to win with a 4-1 because he's got a pair of zombies and a lot of firepower in those clanners.
Okay, so tough call. I think League of Robots has this one. It's just a matter of what the score is going to be. That Dire Wolf has just been doing so much work for the league this year that the other stuff is just kind of there as supporting roles. I think it's probably going to be a 3-1 victory for the league.
League picking up camouflage on that Daishi is scary. I think it's going to come down to map, and then Hogan's has a couple Gauss rifles. It has some firepower it can return with, but ultimately I think League will pull it out 3-1 as well.
Game number 6, we have one of our undefeated teams, the Teddy Bears, 4 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties, up against a team that is doing well but struggling to pull in the victories, the NISCITs, with 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties. Well, these lopsided fights are pretty easy to call. The Teddy Bears are going to win this fight. Now, Pod is going to put up a struggle, though. I think he's really going to start pulling teams into close games. It is going to be a 4-2, but the Teddy Bears are going to lose their first 2 mechs.
That's a bold assumption. Good call on your part, Lee, but I think the Teddy Bears are going to tear it up again. Grumpy Bear's probably going to pull in 2 kills this time, but it'll be a total of 4-1, and I think he's going to lose his first mech, but it's not going to be the Kodiak. It'll probably be the Warhammer.
I think that the Teddy Bears are going to win as well, but I think he's losing his Kodiak this time. I think the sheer firepower, crit seeking, Gauss rifles that NACIT brings to the table, I think one's going to connect with the head, and I think we're going to see the Kodiak finally go down this time.
Did you forget the Kodiak has combat wisdom?
I did forget the Kodiak has combat wisdom. Son of a bitch. Good skill pick, though. Good skill pick. Never mind. I still think the Kodiak's going down, but I mean, I'd like to see it go down to the headshot, but hey, I think we'll have to work for it. But I think the Kodiak's going down this time around. But it's going to be a 4-1 for the Teddy Bears.
And for our fans, if anybody doesn't know, combat wisdom is a skill that allows a player to make an opponent re-roll 1 hit to the head.
Game number 7, I've been waiting over a year for this. We've got the Dead Man's Hand with their first positive record. 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Tin Man's Tin Cans. They're coming in with a record of 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 being a bye win, 1 being a regular win. Well, it's a no-brainer. I've got a call for myself. It's going to be a Dead Man's Hands victory. I'm going to be going into the second half with a 2-3 record, and I'm going to do it, I'm not going to say convincingly, because the Tin Man Tin Can's a tough team, and I know Justin knows how to play the game. I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-1.
I mean, you score a win just by sitting down at the table with him.
Yeah, exactly. First off, because I love hanging out with Justin, and 2, we finally get to play.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how it goes. It's a win because you actually get to sit down and roll dice together. That being said, let it be said that I don't always just vote against you. I agree this is going to be a Dead Man's Hand, probably 3-1.
I love Justin's Lance, and then Lee just swapped out in the last 2 games, has swapped out into a Templar and picked up a Blackhawk Coup. He's starting to fill in the holes for where his Lance was lacking before, and I think that's going to make a difference in this. I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory for Dead Man's this time.
Well, then Lee has audibled from being like, here's my theory of all Gauss rifles, how many can I put, into how many pulse lasers can I get into this Lance now?
You need to be able to hit. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I gotta get the numbers down low enough that they're either auto hits or I barely have to roll the dice. Where if a single dice can show that I've hit, that's what I need to see happening.
That's even sketchy for me. I see target numbers of 5 and I go, oh, this is sketchy. I'm probably not going to hit.
Game number 8. We have the Pit Vipers, 1 win, 2 losses, and a tie. They're up against the first Dracons, who have 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie, whose most recent win was one against one of our unbeaten players, the Thumper's Revenge. So, Brad, I think you're on a bit of a tear. I think you're going to start seeing, like, that loss was a bit of a wobble, but I think you're back upright.
Speaking of wobbling, I failed 6 careful stands in that last game against Thumpers, combined with like 18 regular piloting checks in the game before. I am wobbling all over the place. I think I'm going to have to buy piloting for a bunch of mechs.
So, I was talking about this a couple of days ago. You play in trends. The first season, your gunslinger kept losing its left leg.
Right leg. I lost it 5 times throughout the season, I think.
Last season, you kept having cascading explosions thanks to Case 2, killing your pilots. This season, it's PSRs.
So I have a bad streak, an unlucky streak, and it just changes from season to season on what it does.
Yeah, apparently. And the funny thing about it is it doesn't seem to stop you from winning. It just seems to be a continuous problem you keep running into.
I'm playing a leg down.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Now, I'm going to say this. I think you're going to win. I do. I think you're gonna win with, and I'm gonna follow your thing. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 4-2 because you always lose 2 mechs.
I want to call this for Pit Vipers. I really do. He's got the Fafnir. He's running an assassin. A lot of people don't like that mech. I love that little mech. But I think Brett's years of play versus Cal's, I don't know how many games he's played, but I don't think it's that many.
Now, I think.
Yeah, so I think Brett's years of play and just knowing how to position and stuff a little better, I think that'll win the day. And as Brett says, always loses 2 mechs, so 4-2.
All right, well, I'm going to vote on this one the way that I was told to vote. It's not necessarily exactly how I would, but I was told to call this as a 4-0 victory for my part, so that's what I'm going to do.
Who told you to vote that way?
The Pit Vipers.
He better not throw it.
So the fix is in, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, that seems like a fix.
No, Cal's like, you should just go balls in and just call it 4-0 for you. I'm like, all right.
Game number 9 is the Wolf Pack with 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Alshane regulars. 2 wins, one of them being a bye win, and 2 losses with 0 ties. I think Alex is going to come into this, like I've said, I think I said this last season too. He's going to be mad. He's going to be rocking and roaring. And he doesn't show respect to anybody else's skill level. He just goes at you. Not necessarily a full aggressiveness, but he doesn't play scared.
He's not disrespectful, but after season 1, he no longer plays scared.
Yeah, he doesn't play scared. He goes at it. He's aggressive. And once again, he's aggressive in the fact that he's decisive. I keep saying aggressive, and some people don't quite understand what I mean. I don't mean they just go running in crazy. I mean that they're decisive in their play. He knows what he wants to do, and that's the way it's going to go. The Wolfpack is probably going to win this game, and I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory for them. And I just, that's the way I'm feeling about it. I know Alex is a good player, and I know that he's got his lance kind of where he wants it, and he's very decisive.
Pretty sure that Alex he's looking to be a B-side champion again. So he's okay the fact that he hasn't had like three victories. He understands where he's going to be placing. But with that, he knows he needs to get some wins in. He is going to come out swinging. He's going to come out with targeted ideas of how he's going to win, and that's going to pull him in a 3-2 victory this time.
You know, I called last game versus with Devil's Brigade versus Alshane regulars. I thought for sure that Devil's Brigade was going to take it, and Alshane pulled it out with some gusto. I think we're drastically overlooking what Carlos can do. I know what Alex can do, But I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one, and I'm going to say Alshane Regulars is going to take this 3-2 because he's picked up target lock on that Blackhawk coup, and he's got favored weapon on that triple gauze Thunderhawk. I think he's got the skills right now to possibly make the Wolfpack backpedal. So I'm calling it Alshane Regulars 3-2.
So you're thinking it's going to be some in-universe faction going, where the DCMS comes out and just spanks some mercenaries?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know. Carlos's lance is starting to actually shape up to be something, right? So it's you can kind of see where he's heading with it. He's asking lots of questions. He's talking to a lot of the people that have been in the league for a long time, like JP and stuff like that, trying to get, a little bit of advice and a little bit of insight into how things work. And he's coming out of it and figuring out what will work for him. So I think we can't count Carlos out. I think he's going to bring Alshane to the table, and he's going to try to give it the best, and I think he's going to actually do really well.
Game number 10, we have the Thumper's Revenge. 3 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. Up against their compatriot of the Ansgar's Outlaws, with the matching record of 3 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. Well, the Thumpers had a very disappointing game against you, Brett. And I think she's going to be wanting to stay away from water for a while, because that really did limit where she could move and what she could do. A little bit of indecisiveness kind of cost her her stealth, and I don't think she's going to let that happen again. But the Ansgar's Outlaws have a great lance, and it's matching records. They're not a losing team at all. I am going to say that, let me have a quick look at the Outlaws. Yeah, I was looking at this earlier. I do think in all technical aspects, the Thumpers have the advantage. So I'm going to say the Thumpers are going to win this one due to league experience and I think just overall better mechs with a 3-2. I think it's going to be close though.
You're right. This is going to be a close game. I mean, they're both running the exact same Sad Cat. They both have fast medium. I believe it's actually going to be a 2-2 tie.
I keep joking around with Ansgar's and Rabbit's feet.
He's facing off against the bunnies.
I know, and he's facing off against the bunnies. And as much as I want to vote for Corey because he's a friend, I actually think Laura's going to be like, no, you're not getting these friggin' Rabbit's feet, and she's going to pull it out as a 3-2.
Game number 11, we have the Devil's Brigade with 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Wendigo Night Stalkers, another one of our unbeaten teams with 4 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. See, these lopsided games, it feels like I'm picking on a team when they're on a losing record and I say that the unbeaten team or the really powerful team's going to win. And in this situation, I still think it's true. Wendigo's Night Stalkers are just a horror show team. Like, they got a great lance, very powerful, and I think they're going to win. Wendigo's Night Stalkers, they're going to do it 3-0.
That's bold. I can't disagree with you. Wendigo's Night Stalkers is a returning player. Devil's Brigade is new to league. Depending on who you look at, where their strength of their history is coming through, it does take a little bit of growing pains. And that, combined with the Night Stalkers mechs, their gunnery skills, they haven't had to do any kind of replacements or anything. It's tough to bet against them. I think it will be probably a 3-2 Night Stalkers victory.
Oh, this one's tough for me. Wendigos and Devils, I know both these guys. I also know that they played preseason to test their lance ideas out. And in preseason, Devils came out on top. But that was without skills, that was without mech swaps and stuff like that. I think this one is going to be hard fought because Jay's not going to want to have a repeat of preseason game, and Scott's going to want to have a repeat of season game. I think it's going to be very tight. I think it'll be a 4-3. I'm going to say Wendigos because I think Jay's Night Stalkers are on a tear this season, and I think he's going to want to keep that going. So he's going to fight hard to get that 5th win, but it's going to be 4-3.
Do we know if either of these players listen to the podcast?
I know for sure that Jay does. I think Scott does, but I don't know. I'm not 100% on that.
All right. So my standing stands as it is 3-2 Wendigos Night Stalkers, but I really want to see like a 4-1 Wendigo win here
Why?
because Jay deserves to make up for Timmy from last year,
Oh,
and the Devils needs to be put in their place for trying to brainball somebody.
Scott is, and I know this from talking with Jay, Scott is in Jay's head because Jay is worried about this game. And I think that's something that's going to play an effect to this. And Scott's like, yeah, I won't beat you. Like, he is full of gusto for this one. So I look forward to seeing what the actual results are for this at the end, because it's going to be very, very interesting.
Game number 12, we have the Ghosts of Gunsburg, 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties, versus Condos Janissaries, 4 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. Man, why can we never give it easy to the new guys?
Because we want them to learn right.
You know what? JP is one of our community leaders. He is going to do everything he can to help the Ghosts of Gunsburg understand league play, while also stomping them into the dirt. Condos Janissaries have plasmas, but I don't think he's running any stealth. The Ghosts of Gunsburgs have a really well put together lance. Like, I'm really liking this design. I don't think I have their scouting reports up anywhere yet, but they will be up shortly. Yeah, it's a good lance. Condos are going to win, and they're going to win probably pretty convincingly. I'm going to say a 3-1, but I think the Ghosts of Gunsburg, they're going to show class, and they're going to show some skill, and we're going to see him come back in the second half with a bunch of wins, maybe even getting into C.
I want to vote Ghosts of Gunsburg because Condos has really crappy luck against the most random of opponents. I would love to see this goes 4-1 over the Janissaries, but I can't. I can't call that. I think JP is just too solid of a player, and he's going to pull in a 3-1 victory, just like you said. Unless he has luck like whenever he plays Chris M. And then that's just, flip side. Doesn't matter. He showed up, therefore he lost.
On paper, if you look at this, Ghost of Gunsburg's lance is fantastic, but it is designed to have 2 mechs that sit back and shoot and 2 mechs that move forward. Condos is, here's my 4-6-4 rolling ball of death. Everything's coming at you all at once. And I think that will be what actually, it's going to be Condo's main, the way they play is what's going to be the deciding factor, and having all 4 mechs moving all at once is a big thing. So as much as I like Ghost Gunsburg and I'd want to see the new guy actually, maybe sneak in a win here, it's going to be Condos, and I'm going to call it a 4-1.
Game number 13, I am going to call this as the game of the week. Fenrir's Frostfangs, 0 wins, 4 losses, 0 ties, up against Pax and Pathfinders. 0 wins, 4 losses, 0 ties. Now, the reason why I'm calling this is because this is the teams that need to get out of the basement. They need to see some wins. They need to get into the second half with some confidence. Will, with the Fenrir's, this is his second game. He missed the first 3 due to personal reasons and is a little bit of ring rust, but his lance design and his skill spends have been stellar. Chris has a lance that he's played for 4 games and just had 0 luck. His lance isn't bad, but I think he's having problems with his purpose, like what he wanted the lance to gel as. So I am going to say that he's still going to win this. It's going to be a Paxton Pathfinders win, but I think it's going to be I'd almost say 1-0, but the LRMs of that archer that Will is so focusing on, I think still going to get a kill. So I think it's going to be a 2-1.
Yeah, favorite weapon, so -1 to hit with the LRMs. half minimum range, and +1 on the missile cluster chart, that Archer is going to be the key. I agree with you, though. I believe this is going to be a Paxton's victory. I do believe it is going to be a 1-0 victory, though. I'm going to go with what your original thought is, and I think it's just going to be they're going to play, they're going to find that they run out the clock, and it's who got the win.
I'm in complete agreement with both of you, except for I think it's going to be a Paxton's victory with a 2-1.
Well, that's in alignment with what Lee said.
What's that?
Lee went and voted 2-1.
Oh, did you? Okay, never mind. I'm in complete agreement with Lee. Lee, it's 2-1. We're on the right path here, buddy.
Hey, I came a roundabout way to get that, so the fact that you kind of blanked out partway through my rant, I got it. It's all good. Game number 14. We have the Neon Betons with 2 wins, 2 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Vengeful Ones. 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties. This is 2 of our clanner teams that are not at the top of the leaderboard. They've been struggling a bit because they've been playing some tough teams and having some tough luck. I am going to say that this is going to be so tight, I am going to call a tie. It's going to be a 3-3 tie at time.
So it'll just be 2 points of elementals running around the board trying to get to each other?
I would absolutely howl if that's what it was. Yeah, I think it's going to be the Lancelot and the Warhawk standing at the end.
I agree with you. The Warhawk with camouflage is totally going to be standing at the end of the game, but I think this is going to be a 3-1 Beaton's victory.
This one is interesting. The camouflage is going to be the deciding factor. Unfortunately, I agree with that. And I think that Beaton's is going to pull it out. I think it'll be a 3-2, though, for the Beatons.
Game number 15. We're wrapping up the week here. We have the Red Suns Irregulars with 3 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. They are facing the Half Cut with 1 win, 3 losses, 0 ties. This is another lopsided record count. Gary is always one of my favorites, but so is Paul. I think Paul got a taste of victory last game, and I think he's going to want more, but I think Gary's going to stop him in his tracks. I'm going to go with the Red Suns Irregulars with a 3-2. It's going to be close, but I think Gary's got this one in the win.
This is clan on clan violence. I'm going to be seriously disappointed if Half Cut does not pick up Bayonet Charge on the Dragonfly at some point in time during the season. But in this particular game, I think Red Suns are going to pull in a 3-2 victory as well. Although Red Suns is running 3 mechs and elementals, Half Cut is running 4 mechs. So that could be the ultimately deciding factor here.
And that's the side that I'm going with on deciding factors. I think Paul with 4 mechs, and 2 of those mechs being as maneuverable as they are, is going to be able to outmaneuver and get the shots he needs to get to put the Red Suns in their place. I think that Paul's coming out swinging on this one, and he's going to bring it back, and I think it's going to be a 3-2 victory for Half Cut.
Hooray, splitting the vote.
Yeah, we can't always be in agreement.
Somebody will be right. Somebody will be wrong.
I also really like to vote for Paul. Until he tells me stop doing it.
These are 2 teams that we all like to just vote for, so it's hard.
Yeah,
I love Paul. Gary's a league favorite. Like they're 2 great teams. I just think Red Suns Regulars are just having better luck this season.
Red Suns Regulars has the Widowmaker, right? And that is a big factor. But Half Cuts also, they got their version with the 2 heavy large lasers and then the 2 large pulses. Their Warhammer is actually really good right now with its targeting computer and its heavy lasers. But I think it ultimately comes down to 2 mechs that can outmaneuver Gary's 1 mech that can actually get in close. And I think those 2 mechs will make the difference.
I mean, they are both rocking a Dragonfly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Gary's rocking the Dragonfly that he modified, and Paul's rocking that nice deep pull of here's my 3 streak 5s that I'm just going to run around and pepper you with. So he can keep his Dragonfly at range where Gary wants to close.
And by rage, we mean like 7 hexes.
Well, it is Paul, yeah. 7 hexes and ready for a DFA, but
That is long range for most of Paul's games. Rounding it off to the game that I think everybody else would call the game of the week. Game number 16, we see Kells Keshik with 3 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties, up against Riston's Rogues, our last unbeaten team. 4 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. Now, Jeff, it's Jeff on Jeff violence.
it's Jeff on Jeff violence.
Who's the best Jeff?
It's the
OG versus new G.
Yeah, exactly. We have last year's special commentator versus this year's special commentator. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be well played. You guys play great. OG is the reigning champion at the moment, but your Lance is ugly and mean. I don't think getting close is going to do Jeff OG any favors with your plasma rifles pouncing around. I think I'm going to call this one a 4-3 because you guys are just going to beat the hell out of each other. I'm giving it to you, Jeff. I think you're going to give OG his first loss.
Wow. I'm impressed. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm voting for Jeff to win this game. No surprise there. But I think it's going to be a Riston's Rogues 4-2 victory in this one. I think he's got the C3, he's rocking it, and Kells Keshik is limited to like 15 hexes with the plasma rifles. So by the time he gets there, he's going to get beat up. He's going to make it painful, but I think this will be a Riston's Rogues victory.
So, as I joked around earlier with Jeff, he's so confident he's going to win this, he banked his skill points.
He don't even need skill points to beat you this week.
Who needs it? One hand tied behind my back.
Yeah, like I don't need those skill points. I'm going to whoop him. But Lee's right. Jeff is Lee and Brett are both right. Jeff is definitely going to win this. I think it's going to be a 4-3 as well. I'm having a hard time calling this one for myself. I really am.
You can call it however you actually feel.
I don't want to call against myself. I really don't. But I honestly think that it's not the C3. It's just that he has so much more range with more punchy weapons. And if I get a good map where I can get lots of cover so I can get into range to actually do something, it'll be a 4-3 for me. But most of the maps don't have that. So it's going to be a 4-3 for Riston's. And I hate calling against myself, but that's what I think it's going to be, is a 4-3 Riston's victory. I hope that Lee's right, but I think it's going to be a 4-3 Riston's victory.
I just like your Lance. It's a good Lance. You've got good firepower. You've got good mechs. And yeah, OG's just got pretty much the perfect combo right now.
I do have the ability to outmaneuver him just because I have my 2 6.96s, and that could play a factor. But it's going to come down to map for that to be able to play a factor. So it's a tough one, and I don't see the map being in my favor because it's so rare that they are.
Well, you also got to remember, there's always the wild card factor, and let's just say everything being even, you guys hit with equal number of shots. Is OG's Lance going to be able to handle extra heat?
Yes.
Or is he going to have to tone down his firepower to the point of,
depending on the mech?
Yeah, plus 15 heat or plus 10 heat is going to make a big difference. So we'll have to see what happens. Like it is, I feel for you, Jeff. I think you've got this. I think you can take him.
You go, Jeff. You pull home a win.
Go, Jeff. Go, Team Jeff. And the thing is, OG's one of my favorite players too. I call for him to win most of the time. I just have this feeling that you're going to pull it out.
I love playing Jeff. And right now, every time we've played, we are at a 50-50 who's going to win. So it's going to be a good game, and I know it's going to be a good game. Last year, he beat me out for playoffs because I fell over and blew my own arm off and then couldn't stand up afterwards. And then he capitalized on it. He was able to just hammer you. But by the end of it, we were pretty close still. Like, it wasn't a blowout win. It literally came down to the fact that he was able to capitalize on it better. The time before that we played, it was all me. I was all over him, and the only thing that I was having a hell of a time with was his grasshopper. So I think it'll be a good game. I look forward to playing it. I love playing Jeff. It's always a fun game, and I think it'll be close. But as much as I want it to be me, I still think Ristons has it. So we'll stick with my call.
So just for me to tell everybody, the way I see this, we have 3 people that are elite players in League. We've got JP, and we've got the 2 Jeffs. They lead the league in design and victories, really, when you look at it. I ignored you last season to my own detriment, Jeff, and I will never say that I did it on purpose, because I didn't.
Riston and I both called him right before the season started.
I know you guys didn't. I ignored it. I shouldn't have. But the 3 of you just seem to consistently be near the top and consistently show that your guys' mech choices are amazing and your lance design is great. So that it is so hard to call your guys' games. It is so hard because you guys should win every game,
especially when we're playing each other. It makes it
exactly.
really tough.
Look, JP versus OG. That should be like a game, like a highlight game. You versus JP, same thing, highlight game. JP versus OG, that game is going to be probably the game of the year this season.
Probably, and it'll probably happen right before playoffs. Is my guess.
Though this may be game of the year. If you beat him, that would be my vote for game of the year.
I'm looking forward to the game. It's going to be fun.
All right, everybody, I babbled and talked and rambled and all this other fun stuff. I'm going to say good night and see you all in a week. I'm going to try to be there, even though, just nudge, nudge, I played my game early. Justin showed up. It was great. But we'll see you guys hopefully in a week, and enjoy the rest of the last week of September.
Well, it's been great this last couple of weeks of Battletech. Always enjoy seeing everybody playing, everybody having a good time. And I just want to see it keep rolling. So have fun, everybody. Get those skill spends in. If you need reschedules, let us know. We'll take care of everything we can. And, well, good night, all. Have a fantastic rest of your week.
All right, so this is the last week of posted schedule so far. After these games come out, we will be reshuffling and we will be throwing up the schedule for the last half of the season. So look forward to that, but don't harass us too quick. It's going to take us some time to get that sorted. So from the time that this goes up, expect a new schedule about a week and a half later. All right, have a good night, and we'll talk to you all later.
Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, everybody.
Push the buttons.
Push on the buttons.
Buttons.